here. Welcome to the Monday on Team House Ride's official collab channel, even though I'm probably uploading this when it's technically Tuesday. I was very busy over the past weekend. We were in Delaware, and there was a hurricane back home, and then we had to stay longer. So that happened, and then I went to bed as soon as I got home, and I woke up and I had to go straight to work, and then I've been at work since then. But now I'm here, so you're welcome. This week's theme is story time, and I just decided that I was going to tell a story about the first time that I auditioned for The Voice. The first time that I auditioned for The Voice was February 6th in Chicago, Illinois. So my mom got off of work, and me and her got a hotel and stayed within 2 or 3 miles from the Navy Pier, which is actually where the audition was being held. It was in one of the convention areas at the Navy Pier. It was only like 3-4 hour drive, and then we stayed in the hotel, and the next morning I woke up. My audition was at like 11, I think, or maybe it was like 2. I think it might have been at 2. There were like 3 different audition time periods. I want to say it was like 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and 2 p.m. and I want to say that we went for the 2 p.m. one just because I knew we had to travel. I didn't know when we were going to get there when I first registered. I don't usually get really nervous when it comes to performing because I'm just so used to doing it. I've been doing it my entire life, ever since I could talk, basically. So it was really unusual for me to get super nervous to a fact where it actually physically affected me. And I just got really lucky, I guess, and it just so happened to affect me. And when I woke up that morning to get ready to go to my audition, I actually threw up, and I had a bit of an anxiety attack. And my mom had to help me through that. I was actually really pissed off that I threw up because before that I hadn't thrown up since I was in the 4th grade. So it had been a very long time, and I had ruined my my record. Ended up being really sick to my stomach all day that day, which kind of sucked. We waited out a little bit, and then me and my mom started our walk from our hotel to the Navy Pier, and I got the GPS on walking distance on my phone, and me and my mom were walking with our all bundled up because it was really cold. It's February and we're in Chicago. So me and my mom have not made it even half a mile away from the hotel. We're literally right off the corner of where we just walked out. And my mom trips on an uneven piece of sidewalk, I guess, and falls face first onto the sidewalk, and I freak out, and I'm like, oh my god, Mom, and I bend down as a reflex to help her up, obviously, and she's bashed her head open. So right about right here, there was blood spurting out of her head. And so I freaked out, and my first instinct was to quickly put my hand against her head like this and hold down with pressure. So I was holding her like this, crouched down on the ground, and I noticed that there were 3 or 4 girls, and they were actually running to us because they said they had seen my mom fall, and they bent down and were helping her, and I was like, Mom, oh my god, I don't know what to do. And I'm not really good in that kind of situation. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know if it was that bad or if it wasn't a big deal and she just scratched her eye. But my mom has some medical issues with her back. She has really bad arthritis. She has degenerative disc disease. And so I was really worried about her. The group was helping my mom stand back up to her feet, and this lady had crossed over the street, and she was a doctor or a nurse at a hospital nearby, I guess, and she was on her lunch break, and she saw my mom, helped her out and stuff. They didn't think that she had a concussion, and she told my mom she probably should go to the hospital down the road that she worked at and get checked out. They were very kind. One of the girls had run back to the hotel to get a band-aid and then came back out, so I'm very appreciative to those girls that were helping me out because I had no idea what to do. It was just me and my mom, so I didn't know. So then everyone else left me and my mom, and we cleaned my mom's cut up, and I was like, okay, Mom, do you want to go back to the hotel? I can change my audition date to tomorrow, or what do you want to do? I don't know what to do. Obviously I didn't just want to leave her there because at the time that I was auditioning, I was already 19 years old, so I was above the cutoff to being a minor and being able to bring my family in with me. So I knew that as soon as I got to my audition, I was gonna be alone without my mom for 5 hours or so, and my mom was gonna have to be sitting alone by herself in the Navy Pier, and I was not okay with that. But my mom swore up and down she was fine. She was like, no, you're going, I'll be fine. And I was like really nervous. But you know, it's my mom. I didn't argue with her. She scares me sometimes. So, we ended up continuing our walk to the Navy Pier. And so by the time we get there, I'm still feeling sick. I'm worried crazy about my mom, and my phone's about to die. But I try to stay positive, and mom's like, okay, you got this. We went over my song 1 or 2 times, and we walked all the way up to the area that I was supposed to be at, and we got to the spot where my mom had to say goodbye. And, you know, I walked inside. At the very front door, there was this guard there where we showed him our registration form and our form of ID. They would look it over, make sure I was good to go. They gave it back to me, and I walked in, and there were so many people there. There were probably 5 or 6 sets of lines with, I would say, maybe around 200 people in each line, and I was said to go in line number 3. I got in that line, and there were some people in front of me, and I immediately was like, hey, how's it going? My name's Allie. I'm 19, I'm alone, what's up? I ended up meeting some really cool people. I met a girl named Sydney and her mom, and I met this guy named Tim, and they actually had met at an audition before and met up so they would get in line together, which I thought was really cool because, like, then you're not alone. They were really cool. There were people all around us with like instruments. They had like their guitars or ukuleles. Everyone was like passing around the instruments and stuff for a bit. And I was in that specific line, the first line, for I would say maybe 2 hours. After the 2 hours, a guy came over and undid the front of the line, and we went out to go register, which was what we would do. We went to this table, and there were a bunch of different workers sitting at the tables. You would hand them your registration form, you'd hand them your IDs, and they would take the registration form, they'd hand you back your IDs after they went through them, and they'd give you a wristband, and they'd stamp your hand with a little stamp for the voice. And after that, they would send you off into the next line. And that next line wasn't really a line at all. It was just kind of like so they could check your bags. We'd go through, they check your bags, I was good, and they sent us off into the next line area, which was all seated, which was very good because I was sitting on a concrete floor, or standing on the concrete floor for that time, and then I got to go sit in these chairs. So I was sitting in one of his areas. Basically, we just like picked, they just like sat us somewhere, and then they would come back and take a section of us at a time. And I was probably sitting in that area for 2.5 hours, I'd say. And when we were in that big part, everyone was getting up and singing along. So like one section would be singing as a group, they'd be singing like some Broadway show tune, or another group over here would be singing some Sam Smith song, and another group over here would be singing some Blake Shelton song or whatever, and everyone was just singing together. There was this other guy, and I don't remember his name. We called him Guitar Guy because he had a guitar. Everyone had a guitar, was basically a guitar guy. This guy was really, really good. He had kind of like a Phil Collins kind of sound to him. We'd pass around the guitar after he did it, and someone else would sing, and we were kind of going in a circle. And at this point, I had finally gotten to like my outgoing self, like I am now. When you first meet me, I'm usually kind of shy and like, I don't know how you're gonna take me being this like loud person. I probably should back off a little bit. But after a while, I start to warm up and be me. This group of people was like, hey, we want to hear Allie sing. And I was like, I mean, okay. They were like, do you know how to play the guitar? And I was like, yes, I do. Yes, I do indeed. I played Riptide by Vance Joy, and I finished, and everybody in the room like applauded. I guess I was louder than I realized that I was being. I don't know. And very shortly after that, it was my group's time to go in to the audition area. And how they do that is they pick 10 people at a time up the stairs and into this area where it was like different, much smaller rooms. And there would be 5 chairs on one side of the room, 5 chairs on the other side, and then there would be a little duct tape X in the middle of the room, and on the one side there would be a table where a producer sat with his or her computer and like a notebook and like all of your registration forms. In the back of the room there were some chairs where your parents could sit if you were under the age of 18. So they took my group upstairs and we handed them our stuff again, and they clipped off our bracelet. I don't know why we weren't allowed to keep them, but we were. They took them, and then they basically told us like, hey, be quiet, turn your phones off, do this and this and this, like don't talk, don't sing, don't hum, don't sing along with the people you hear because the walls are very thin. In these rooms you can hear people in other rooms, so if you are going to audition, be prepared for that. And so we went into the room, and you know, 5 of us sat on one side, 5 of us sat on the other side. The producer introduced herself and then basically was like, hey, I'm gonna call you guys off one by one. You guys are gonna come up to the middle. You're gonna sing a section of your song. Usually it's about a verse and a chorus. So just whichever part of the song you feel is your strongest area, go ahead and sing that part first. And then the producer will cut you off when you're done, and everyone will applaud and it'll keep going. And at the end they let us know whether we're gonna be able to move on or whether we're not gonna be moving on this time. The producer started calling us off one by one, and I was in a group with every single friend that I had made, and we just so happened to be the last group that was auditioning that day. But anyway, she called us off one by one. I think I was about the 3rd or 4th out of the 10, and I sang my song. My song was Hollow by Tori Kelly. I sang the 2nd verse and the chorus, and then I was done, and I went back to my seat, and everybody applauded, and we all applauded for everybody else. When we were all done, the producer stood up and she was like, thank you so much for your time. You guys all did a wonderful job. Unfortunately, you guys will not be going on to the next round. I feel like we're looking for something a little bit more stronger than what you guys gave me, but thank you, and I do hope you guys come back next year to audition again. And we were like, thank you so much. We walked up and like shook her hand or whatever, and then we left. We went down the stairs and there was a big crowd of people, everyone waiting with like cameras, and like all of our families and stuff that was waiting. My mom was waiting there, and I met up with my mom and said goodbye to all my friends and stuff that I made, and I got like their Facebooks and whatever, and then I left. But yeah, that's my experience auditioning for The Voice for the first time. The advice that I would give to you if you decide that you are going to audition for The Voice, I do very highly suggest that you do it. Auditioning for The Voice is probably the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. Practice perfect. My choir teachers used to say it all the time. Basically what it is, you've probably heard the phrase, practice makes perfect. Well, practice doesn't always make perfect. If you're not practicing it the exact right way, you're going to be continuously practicing the wrong thing. I do suggest that you bring a water bottle and a small snack with you. I understand that you like soda, but it's really bad for your vocal cords, especially if you're about to be performing in front of a producer because you want to be on the show. And the most important thing, in my opinion, would be do not be afraid to put yourself out there and talk to the people in line with you. If you don't, you're gonna be alone for like 4 to 5 hours. And that's not fun. And if you are completely afraid to talk to everybody, you're not gonna have the best time. They have the same dream as you do, obviously, because they're there with you. So you at least have that in common. But yeah, that's all for this week's video. I hope you guys did like it. If you guys did like it, please leave a like down below and subscribe to see more of my face and all that stuff. And yeah, tune in the rest this week to see what the rest of the girls have for their story times. And come back next week to see me again. But yeah, thank you for watching and goodbye.